Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I wanted to shoot a quick video talking about Ulty and looking at their holdings specifically, just kind of get an update on their holdings and kind of see what they are currently trading with at the moment. If you're not familiar with what YieldMax or what Ulty is, it is a fund that is managed by YieldMax, and they implement several different option strategies out there to create income from your portfolio. Do keep in mind their expense ratio is pretty high, but once you see all of the holdings and the different things that they're currently doing, you may have a little bit more of a understanding and a justification for that higher gross expense ratio there. So obviously their objective of the fund is to seek current income, right? So that is the first objective on their fund. The second objective is to seek exposure to the share price of the select securities, U.S. listed securities, subject to a limit on potential investment gains. So they're going to, provide you exposure, both direct exposure and synthetic exposure, but you are going to be capped on the upside here. So scrolling down a little bit, where was it at? Yeah, so the fund may hold the underlying securities when Zega Management determines a direct hold is more cost effective. And then they also may create a synthetic position. So it's selling a call, or selling a cash secured put, selling a call, buying a call. There's different variations that you can kind of create a synthetic position, but they do have the option to implement something like that as well. So it's mainly going to be selling covered calls from my understanding, but it does sound like they do have some options to do, no pun intended, implement some different strategies. So a lot of times it's selling spreads, so your cap side or your upside isn't as capped as much. But yeah, so there have been interviews going on YouTube with these fund managers, so definitely go check out those interviews. They're very informative, but there are a couple filings from what I understood. This fund is changing a little bit as far as their strategy goes, so it's just allowing them to kind of implement some of these other strategies that can help with the NAV erosion, because the NAV erosion has been a big deal with this fund, and definitely a huge risk overall. So let's go ahead and go back here real quick. So this is on the Charles Schwab platform. Currently it's trading for $9.98. There has been a lot of talk on Reddit that some people are kind of concerned that there could be a reverse split on the horizon. We'll see. We'll see though. Tesla went through that. I don't know if it was a couple months ago or so, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully, with their strategies that they're implementing, they can kind of negate some of this NAV erosion that's been happening. But yeah, either way, hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see. So looking at the holdings, these are the sector breakdowns. You're looking at, information technology as the highest at almost 30%, followed by healthcare, financials, consumer discretionary, industrials, and so on there. So it looks like some of their biggest assets held, or MSTR, it looks like they are actually holding the underlying of these. So it looks like they have 105,000 shares. So that's a pretty large position there, valued at $23 million. MSTR has been doing really well. I think it's leading the market overall. It's up 271% year to date. So good for that company there. Followed by NVIDIA, Coinbase, Mara, Sava, Unity as SG, Redfin, SMR, CLMT. I'm not going to try to pronounce all of these. Novax, NVAX, AMSC. Looks like it's another conductor company, electrical conductor, Tesla, and so on here. So let's go ahead so this is sorted by assets. So that kind of gives you an idea of what are some of their biggest holdings. But I kind of want to look at specifically. Yeah, so this is kind of what I want to look at here. So it's going to match up the description of the fund and kind of the calls that they're selling. So this Viking Therapeutics looks like they have 110,000 shares here. And then do keep in mind, to be able to sell a covered call, you have to have 100 shares of that fund. So just kind of keep that in mind there. So the current price for this fund, it's actually not going to show me, fortunately. So $77.60. Let me go back here. Where did that go? Okay, sorry about that. Going back here to, yeah, so it was 77. What was it? $77. The RTX 77.60. Okay. Okay, let's see here. All right, back here, $77. So, needless to say, they are selling several calls here, different strikes. So it looks like this one's in the money, but then these three are all out of the money, and these are all expiring this week. So looks like they may have had to roll some of these because these expired in the money. But, you know, the cool thing with this fund is they are, you know, kind of putting these strikes and these options at different strikes. So they have, you know, more, they're not all relying on one strike being hit, you know, if that kind of makes sense there. So that's the Viking Therapeutics. You know, they have some different strikes there, all expiring this week. So at least, you know, these three are expiring this Friday. We got Upstart. I do see 2 calls on Upstart. They're selling 2,400. So it looks like they're still holding a lot of shares just naked. Let's see what Upstart is currently trading at. Currently trading at $50.10. $50. So they sold a 64 call that expired worthless this past week, and they sold a $57 call that looks like it expired worthless as well. So yeah, pretty good there. But yeah, I'm not going to go all the way through this list, but you know, the big thing I kind of wanted to analyze is that they are kind of being more strategic with their option strikes here from what I'm seeing, which I think is a very good strategy. You know, not being all reliant on, you know, one strike price, one expiration per se. They're kind of strategically like selecting, you know, one, you know, whether it's in the money, one at the money, and then one out of the money. So just kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room there. And we'll see. You know, I'm not sure if they've always, you know, kind of implemented their strategy this way, or if this is something they just recently changed. But I think long term it'll help them, you know, definitely appreciate in some more of the upside there for sure. So let's look at some of this other ones. Let's at TQQQ. I don't see an underline in that one. Maybe they're just, so this expired. So maybe their shares got called away potentially. Yeah, so there's a lot of these expirations that happened this past Friday. Because as we're looking at this article today, hasn't been updated since last Friday, but yeah, you know, pretty cool here though, you know, but like kind of what I was talking about earlier, you can see all these different options and positions that they are managing, and their team has to manage. Okay, so there's TQQQ. So it's down here, but they did sell a call this past Friday at 75. Okay, cool. But yeah, like I was talking about though, they do charge a higher expense ratio at 1.24. But if you see all these stocks and options and different things that you have to constantly manage, whether you're gonna, you know, let your shares get caught away, whether you're gonna roll these options, there's a lot of management within here. And if you have a portfolio size like theirs, you'll quickly understand that there is a lot of management that goes on when doing these types of trading strategies. So looking at some of these other ones, let's kind of see. So what was it? MSTR? Yeah, okay, so this is a good example. So this is their biggest holding, and what are they currently selling? So they have 105,000 shares. What is MSTR currently trading for? So 230. Looks like Schwab's rating them as an F. So that's it's not too good. Let's go back to the holdings. MSTR. Okay, so they had several that expired this past week. Looks like all three of them. One in the money. What did it end up closing? It closed at 230. So it looks like their 215 shares got caught away, but pretty much everything above that was good. Here, the second page. Yeah, so they finished at 232. So it looks like these two strikes were good. However, this one did probably get caught away. Looks like they sold 450 contracts. So it's a good bit of shares there. So 450. $45,000 shares. They sold 45,000 shares away at that 215 strike. So yeah, cool though. It'll definitely be interesting to see. I'm not sure when they pay. I'm sure it's coming up here soon. But it'll be interesting to see, if they can. So let's go look at that real quick. Actually, let's look at the performance of Ulty. If I can see that somewhere. Once again, this is on the Charles Schwab platform, so I'm still kind of getting used to where to see Ulty. Sure, let's compare it to the SPY. Is it gonna give us a? Nope, it's not. Okay. But needless to say, here we go, performance and chart. Okay, so 1 year it's not been doing well. So I'm not sure when the inception date is February 28th. So it is down 8%, 8.883% since inception. Does that sound right? Let's see if we can find it on Google. No, that does not look right. So ever since February of this year, just from a price return basis, maybe they are calculating this return as like dividends, like their total return, so like including distributions. But from a price return, they started at almost $20 a share back in February, so they're down over 48% year to date. Let's see. Oh, so this is monthly return. Okay. Potentially. Yeah. So bear with me. I'm still trying to decipher this data on Schwab. But yeah, either way, let me know what you think down below. Does this fund kind of interest you? I know it's different than some of the other funds out there that YieldMax offers. It's more of a strategic play. And looks like they are targeting kind of smaller cap to mid cap stocks. I do know they obviously have MSTR and some of those other ones in there as well, but and also this might be kind of misinterpreted since they're selling so many options. It kind of looks like they're targeting smaller, but actually they still have MSTR and Nvidia and some of those other big ones as their top holdings there. So, but yeah, either way, let me know what you think down below. Are you an investor in Ulty, or has the performance just kind of wore you out? Year to date being down over 48%. It'll be interesting to see. Like I talked about, hopefully they don't have a reverse split. Hopefully they can kind of turn things around. But we'll see. Definitely stay tuned for that. And but yeah, if you guys are still here, I appreciate you sticking around this long. If you got some value from it, please like and subscribe down below.